Have you ever found yourself in a situation where the only way out is to make a best guess based on incomplete information? Picture yourself in a labyrinth of possibilities where every twist and turn brings you face to face with a new unknown. This is not a journey into the heart of a fantastical world, this is a journey into the mind, into a realm of reasoning that often goes unnoticed. This is the realm where mysteries are born and answers are discovered, not by confirmation or elimination but by a leap of imagination. It's a realm where the incomplete, the ambiguous, and the uncertain are not obstacles, but stepping stones towards understanding. It's the realm where the American philosopher Charles Sanders Peirce ventured to formulate a unique mode of reasoning, a method that is as much about seeking truth as it is about embracing uncertainty. Welcome to the world of abductive reasoning. Abductive reasoning, the brainchild of Charles Sanders Peirce, an American philosopher, is our detective for today. It's the process of forming an explanatory hypothesis, a clever guess if you will, based on the limited information available. It's like finding a piece of a puzzle and trying to imagine the full picture it could be a part of. Charles Sanders Peirce, a philosopher, scientist, and mathematician, conceptualized abductive reasoning back in the late 19th century. He suggested that our minds often leap from observing a surprising fact or an unexpected event to forming a theory that makes sense of it. It's an instinctual creative process, a kind of mental detective work that we do every day, often without realizing it. Now, you might be wondering how abductive reasoning stands apart from the other two forms of reasoning we're more familiar with, deductive and inductive. Well, here's the difference. Deductive reasoning is like a mathematical proof. You start with a general truth, or a set of facts, and you logically derive a specific conclusion. In contrast, inductive reasoning is where you start with specific observations and generalize them into a broader theory. Abductive reasoning, however, is a different animal altogether. It's less about proving something beyond a shadow of a doubt, and more about developing the best possible explanation based on the available evidence. It's more about likelihoods and probabilities. It's the reasoning that a detective uses when they arrive at a crime scene and start piecing together what might have happened based on the clues left behind. It's not about certainty, but about making the most informed guess possible. So it's like our mind's personal Sherlock Holmes, isn't it? It's the reasoning that helps us navigate the world's uncertainties, making sense of the unexpected and seeking explanations for the unexplained. It's the thinking tool that makes us all everyday detectives in the grand mystery that is life. Now, let's see our detective in action. Imagine you're sitting in your doctor's office, a place where abductive reasoning is used regularly. You've been feeling unwell lately, you're constantly tired, have frequent headaches, and your vision is blurry. These symptoms are your clues, your body's way of communicating that something isn't quite right. Your doctor, much like our detective, takes these clues and begins to piece together a possible explanation. They might think, fatigue, headaches, and blurry vision, that could be an indication of diabetes. This is a perfect example of abductive reasoning, taking a set of observations and making the most plausible inference. But our doctor doesn't stop there. They then test this hypothesis by ordering a blood sugar test. If the results confirm the elevated sugar levels, the initial inference is strengthened. If not, new hypotheses need to be generated and tested until a diagnosis can be made. Now, let's shift this scenario to a more common everyday situation. Suppose you wake up one morning to find your front lawn soaked. You didn't turn on the sprinklers and your first thought is, it must have rained last night. This is another instance of abductive reasoning. You saw a clue, the wet lawn, and made the most reasonable inference that it rained. But then you see your neighbor, hose in hand, watering their garden. Now you have a new piece of evidence that leads you to revise your initial conclusion. Perhaps your neighbor accidentally sprayed your lawn while watering their own. Abductive reasoning is not about finding definite answers, but about creating the most plausible explanation based on the clues at hand. It's a way of thinking that we all use, often without realizing it, whether we're diagnosing a medical condition or simply figuring out why our lawn is wet. As we can see, abductive reasoning is not just a philosophical concept, but a practical tool we use in our daily lives. So what's the takeaway from our little detective story? In our journey through the labyrinth of thought, we've witnessed firsthand the power of abductive reasoning, a concept brought to light by the American philosopher Charles Sanders Peirce. Unlike deductive and inductive reasoning, abduction doesn't guarantee truth or even probability, but it does promise plausibility, a hypothesis, a starting point from which further investigation can spring. Imagine it as the spark that ignites the flame of understanding, a small glimmer in the vast darkness of the unknown. In our detective story, it was the hunch that led our unsung hero to connect seemingly unrelated pieces of a puzzle, to form a hypothesis, and to finally uncover the truth. In essence, abductive reasoning is the bridge between observation and theory, between what we know and what we seek to understand. It's the silent workhorse of scientific discovery, the unsung hero of everyday problem-solving, the invisible thread that connects the dots in a world filled with mysteries. But beyond its academic significance, the beauty of abductive reasoning lies in its practicality. It's not confined to the hallowed halls of academia or the sterile labs of scientists. It's in the kitchen when you're trying to figure out why your soufflé fell, or in the garage when your car refuses to start. Remember, every mystery in life is an opportunity for abductive reasoning to shine. If you found this video enlightening and wish to embark on more such intellectual quests, consider subscribing to our channel. Existence Quest is dedicated to bringing you thought-provoking content that challenges your perceptions and expands your understanding. From the mysteries of philosophy to the complexities of human reasoning, we delve into topics that inspire contemplation and invite you to think outside the box. So, don't wait. Join us on Existence Quest as we continue our search for the unsearchable. Opening. In the silence that follows, let's ponder on the profound insights we've just uncovered. So, we've spent the past few minutes delving into the intriguing world of abductive reasoning, as proposed by the brilliant American philosopher, Charles Sanders Peirce. A world where, like a detective, we gather clues, make educated guesses, and infer the most reasonable explanation. This reasoning, though not always leading to a definite conclusion, certainly moves us closer to understanding the complex web of life's mysteries. Consider for a moment a simple, everyday scenario. Let's say you walk into your living room to find your favorite vase shattered on the floor. Your dog, who has a history of knocking things over, is in the room. There are no signs of a break-in, no evidence of a natural disaster. Using abductive reasoning, you might infer that your dog knocked over the vase. It's not a guaranteed conclusion, but given the information at hand, it's a reasonable assumption. This kind of reasoning is not just limited to solving household mysteries, it permeates through every aspect of our lives, from scientists forming hypotheses, business leaders making strategic decisions, to doctors diagnosing illnesses. Abductive reasoning, as Peirce meticulously explained, is the bedrock of human intelligence, the cornerstone of our curiosity and our quest for understanding. Yet, it's important to remember that abductive reasoning, while incredibly useful, is not infallible. Just as a detective's initial hunch may not always lead to the perpetrator, our initial inferences may not always be accurate. But that's the beauty of it. It's not about being right every time, it's about starting a journey of curiosity and exploration. It's about not being afraid to revise your conclusions, to learn, to grow, and to better understand the world around us. In conclusion, Charles Sanders Peirce's abductive reasoning is a powerful tool. It invites us to be detectives in our own lives, to question, to infer, and to learn. It's a tool that promotes curiosity, encourages exploration, and ultimately leads to wisdom. As the silence envelops us in this final scene, let's take a moment to appreciate the genius of Peirce, the allure of philosophy, and the power of reasoning. We've embarked on a journey today, a journey of understanding, a journey into the depths of philosophy and the human mind. In these quiet moments, let's reflect on what we've learned today. Let's consider how we can apply these insights to our own lives, how we can become better detectives in our own stories, how we can use abductive reasoning to unravel the mysteries of our own existence. And as we part ways, let's remember the words of the great philosopher himself, Charles Sanders Peirce. Inquiry is the struggle to resolve actual doubt, and is the cause of all learning. Closing. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel, Existence Quest, as we continue searching for the unsearchable.